It's Joe Ducard here, and I want to talk with you about how to deal with rejection like a boss. Okay, rejection is something that is inevitable. If you're trying to improve your dating skills, if you're going out there, if you're a single guy and you're trying to meet women, you're going to deal with rejection. You're going to deal with a lot of it. So I have some really cool stuff for you today. Not only what to do tactically when it happens, most importantly, definitely your mindset that you should have about rejection. Some things to never forget and some great resources here so that when rejection happens, you can really understand why it happens. And you could also handle it the proper way to ensure your success. Now, I've been doing this for 12 years now. I got started, on my journey of approaching women 12 years ago, and I've dealt with plenty of rejection through my days. And I'm still able to go out and approach strangers and have really great times and deal with rejection very easily because of the mindsets I have now. So it'll be really cool to share with you all the stuff I've learned throughout the years so that when you go out, you can approach women and when you get rejected, not take it, so much to heart and actually grow from it to a certain point. Rejection is so important because rejection is one of those things that is so scary for most guys that it forces them to not even try in the first place. And that just breaks my heart that guys are so afraid of getting rejected that they don't even try. So this video is very important. Make sure you pay attention to it. Make sure you share it with somebody as well too who maybe would like to get started and have more success with women, but they're afraid they're going to get rejected. And never forget, man, right here I have the golden rule of this is, rejection, and I put it in quotation marks for an important reason, which I'll share with you in a few minutes. But rejection happens to all of us and is inevitable. And not only is it inevitable, but it happens most of the time. And by most of the time, I mean, like I said, I've been doing this for 12 years. I mean, God knows how many strangers, as far as women that I've approached, and had intentions of, getting to know them and whatever down the line, tens of thousands or whatever. And I haven't had tens of thousands of girlfriends and most of them did not work out, okay? Most of them are not going to work out. And as you'll see in a few minutes, that's going to be a good thing. But never forget, rejection happens to all of us and most of the time. It's funny, I see some spammy dating products out there and they said, here's a rejection-proof system guaranteed to work every time. If you ever hear that and somebody's trying to sell you something, make sure that you run in the opposite direction as fast as you can because nothing is rejection-proof. And if any guru out there thinks he can get every girl he talks to or he's rejection-proof, send him my way and I'll take him some places where I guarantee he'll get rejected 90% of the times, okay? So if you go to a house party and you know everybody, yeah, you're not going to get rejected. But, when you're going out there into the wild, rejection is going to happen, but you have to look at it the right way. The mindset will be super cool. We'll get to that in a second. But first I want to talk about how to tactically deal with rejection when it actually happens. There's some great ways of dealing with it, okay? And two important things I have here. The first thing I have is to cue up the rejection. And what I mean by that is that you actually want to embrace the rejection and you want to make it more possible to actually happen. And by that, I mean you want to put girls at a decision. This is something I'm doing more and more as I get more advanced with this and I become more and more keen on my time. I had a great weekend and I had a lot of abundance. And I was teaching a boot camp this last week and it went awesome. I had a lot of girls we were talking to, we were texting, the whole thing. There was a lot of girls around. And because I had that abundance, I actually put girls at a decision faster. I'm like, hey, you want to hang out? Yes or no? You want to get together? Yes or no? You want to meet up? Yes or no? You want to, whatever. You want to move forward with me or not? Yes or no? And I put girls at a decision very quick because I had that abundance. If they weren't into it, I can go talk to another girl. That's totally fine. So putting girls at a decision not only shows that you have abundance, but it also saves your time by putting them at a decision. So that's very, very important. You want to let them know as well that it's totally fine if they're not into it, okay? I remember just recently I was talking to a girl and I said, hey, look, you seem really cool. I'd love to get together with you. And hey, look, if you're not into it, that's totally fine. I won't bother you and we don't have to continue chatting. The thing I hate more than rejection, I don't mind rejection at all anymore now because I don't look at it as rejection. We'll talk about that in a second. The only thing I hate more than a rejection is talking to a girl forever and never actually meeting up or doing anything. I hate wasting time. So I like to put girls at a decision. A buddy of mine used to call it a Y in the road. You want to do this or not? You want to move forward or not? You want to get together or not? This is especially important for online dating. and also just texting girls in general, and even when you meet them in person. And if not, let them know it's totally fine. There was a girl on Saturday I was talking to. I said, hey, I'll take your number down, but if you're not interested, whatever, you don't have to give me your number. And she was like, oh, well, yeah, I'm only in town for a day. And I just laughed. I said, okay, it's cool. Like I could tell she just wasn't that into it, but I just asked for the number anyway. And it was all good. I wound up meeting other girls who were really into me, but I was glad that I put her at that decision rather than getting the number and not asking that question, and then her just wind up flaking on me, right? So I'm glad I just said, hey, look, if you're not into it, we don't have to. And I let him know it was totally fine and let her take the easy out. That way we don't waste either of our time. Very mature thing to do. And when a rejection actually happens to you, okay, always be a gentleman. I'll tell a story about Craigslist. I was selling something on Craigslist, say the thing, maybe it was a couch or something for $300. And someone said, oh, will you sell it to me for $200 or something? And I said, no, I'm looking to get $300. And they're like, well, $240. I'm like, sorry, that's still too low. And they were like, what about that? And they're like, all right, whatever. It's too high of a price for me. And normally I would just not respond to them, or some people get mad, like if you don't buy something from the other person. But I wrote them back and I said, okay, no problem. Thanks for reaching out. If you change your mind, let me know. Just as really a gentleman about it. You know what happened? I believe it was a week later. I still hadn't sold the couch. They reached out to me and said, hey, do you still have it? I would take it for $300 or whatever. And I wound up selling it because I let it go by being a gentleman, okay? One thing that I learned back in the day, one of the guys I learned from said, what do you say when a girl rejects you? And he said to say, pleasure meeting you, right? Just be nice and be polite. A lot of guys, especially, me too, instinctively sometimes want to be like, well, fuck you, you ghosted on me, or well, you're a bitch, or why did you do that? That was fucked up, or you're a piece of shit. Like, we want to get mad at the girl and get some type of revenge or whatever it is against her. But always be a gentleman when rejection happens. And also have fun with it. A lot of things, one of my favorite things to do is if I go to approach a girl and she just doesn't pay attention and walks off, I say, hey, call me. Right? And I put my little phone up to my ear like a joke. Or a buddy of mine who I used to go out with would wing me. After I talked to a girl and she walked away, wasn't into it, he said, hey, man, I think she likes you. Or I'll look at my friend and say, man, that went really well. I'm like, I thought she was really into me. Or after I do the, hey, call me, she walks away, I look at my buddies who I'm with, and I go, she'll call. So just have some fun with the mix. It's gonna happen. But let's dive into the meat and potatoes here, the mindset stuff. So I got a very important question here to ask you. And the question is, do you like every girl that you talk to? Okay, every girl that you meet and everyone that you talk to, do you like every one of them? I would guarantee that the answer is no. I'll never forget, I tell this story often, there was a girl I saw out, the girl was drop dead gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, flawless. And I said, man, I got to go talk to this girl. She's beautiful. So I went up to her, I talked to her. She didn't smile. She gave me one-word responses, was so boring that, she may have went from a 10 to a 2 after that. Yeah, she was attractive and I was into her physically, but she was so boring and she was young and really basic that I couldn't do anything with it. If I had to do anything, maybe besides hooking up, if I had to talk to her at all, even for 2 minutes, I couldn't even talk to her. So it was just, there was no compatibility at all. You're not going to like, and you're not going to get along with every girl that you talk to. And never forget that. And rather than taking it so personally or that there's something wrong with your game, just remember, you're not going to mesh with every girl that you talk to. You're not meant to mesh or get along with every girl that you talk to. So never forget that. Another thing too is to look at your interactions as screening for what you want. This is probably one of the biggest things that'll flip your outlook on rejection like a pancake. Look at your interactions with women as screening for what you want. Like I mentioned with the one before, I like a girl who has a sense of humor, who's interesting, who's flirty, who's fun, right? Those are things that are non-negotiables for me. If you don't have any of those, I can't do anything with you. I'm sorry. So if I go in and you're giving me one-word responses and you're really boring and you're really basic, then you're not going to fit with what I'm looking for. So you have to go in as screening. And like I said, rather than saying, oh, maybe my game wasn't good enough or I can't win her over, just be like, look, I'm looking for a girl who's fun and cool and has good energy, right? And if you don't have that, then I don't want to talk to you in the first place, okay? So a good buddy of mine came into town, and we went out, and the first night was okay. He's one of my really good friends. And the second night we went out, he goes, dude, forget about what's going to happen, this or that. Let's just go out and screen for good energy. Let's just talk to the girls that have a good energy and that are fun. And that was our only goal. And man, we had one of the most, if not the most epic nights I've ever had approaching women when I went out. And it was because we just screened for good energy. If they sucked, we gave a good effort, obviously off the bat. If they sucked, we just moved on, talked to the next person. And that was our goal. We said, if they suck, we'll move on. Rather than, oh, I talked to them, they didn't give me anything, maybe my game was bad and they rejected me. No, it wasn't even a rejection. It was us screening to see if they were cool or not. So you want to take ownership of these things. I remember I ran into to two guys who were visiting from out of town, and they were having fun and talking to some really pretty girls. And he was telling me about his mindset. And these are obviously guys who are naturally really good with women. He goes, dude, we go out, we talk to girls, and we just try to see who's cool, man. And he's like, and if the girls are cool, then, we talk to them. And if they're not cool, then bye, we'll see you later. And that was his mindset. And I thought it was so cool that he shared that with me. Just a natural guy, hasn't studied anything, and that was his mindset. Super, super cool. Another thing I want you to do is embrace rejection as a good thing, okay? Because like I mentioned before, it saves your time. You want a girl to say she's not into you. You want a girl to walk away if she's not interested. You want a girl to not, try to be polite and nice. Say, hey, look, if you're not into this, it's all good. I'll be fine. You'll be fine. Like, you want to really save your time with this. And you want to screen out, because some girls, as we know, some girls are going to absolutely love you. You want to spend your time with the girls that are going to love you and want to spend your time with you. A good quote my dad always used to say to me was, I want to go where I'm celebrated, not tolerated. Okay, so really take that to heart, man. I think that's a really cool quote. I still talk about to this day. Another thing too is, if you get quote unquote rejected, right, and it doesn't go well with one girl, then you're one step closer to a better connection. You have to weed out the bad ones to get the good ones. I like to use poker as an example. If you're getting dealt really bad hands, every hand that you get dealt and you fold and say, I'll wait for a better one, every time you fold, you could look at that as a rejection and say, okay, this hand sucks, this hand sucks, this hand sucks. A good hand is right around the corner. It's just inevitable, man. There are girls that are going to like you, but you have to go through the doors that are already closed and the ones that don't like you. And another thing is, you could take a valuable lesson from it, man. I had a rejection, I guess it was 2 years ago now, from a girl I was seeing and was really into. And when it happened, it really hurt and it bothered me for a while. But looking back on it, I actually wouldn't change it. I don't think I would go back and say, oh, I wish she was still into me. We're still talking. Yeah, maybe sometimes I'd like to talk to her. But at the end of the day, the lesson that I learned from her rejecting me was so important that the rejection was worth it. I wouldn't change it. I was so happy and I embraced it. It was actually it was a great thing that she had actually rejected me, because I took a valuable lesson from it. I took several valuable lessons from it. One of them was that we weren't compatible in the first place, and I didn't need to adapt to who I was. I needed to embrace and do what I thought was cool, and what she thought was cool was just something else. So we weren't compatible. That was one. Number two is to not get my hopes up before I started seeing somebody. You want to play on the side of just being cool. Don't build all these alternate realities in your mind, which I've talked about before. The most valuable lesson that I took from that rejection was to be more open and honest with how I was feeling and call the situation out for what it was. I kind of was like, okay, well, we don't have to have a deep, serious talk. I'll just try to, give some good emotions and things will kind of come back around. I don't need to address the issue. But I learned that I needed to have an open and honest talk about where things were, how I was feeling, how the other person was feeling. And that conversation could have saved, something that was going sour, and we could have saved a friendship out of it if I just was more honest and open with it and had a tougher conversation on the spot in person. That would have saved the whole thing. So I always learned that having that open, honest communication is a great and important way to save relationships. And the last thing here on the mindset is, what does rejection really say about you? When you go out and you go to talk to a girl and you get rejected, what does it say about you? And the answer is, it often has nothing to do with you. Okay, I have so many stories and examples of this. Even in my book that I have on Amazon, I'll talk to you about in a second. And rejection has nothing to do with you. The girl can be in a bad mood. The girl could have a boyfriend. The girl could literally have to go to the bathroom, right? The girl could have friends of hers that pull her away. The girl could just not be open to meeting strangers in general. The girl could be really young and really nervous. I mean, she could be talking to another guy that she's really into, and he could be coming to meet her in a minute, and then she brushes you off because she's been talking to this guy forever. There's so many reasons why a woman will not be interested in you, and it often has nothing to do with you. So never forget that. And one thing to add to that as well, if you don't have to figure out all the reasons why she's not into you. Sometimes you can leave it as a mystery. Now, if there's an obvious, valuable lesson that you could take from it, then take it. If it's down the line you have to reflect and take a lesson, that's fine. But don't take it personally. A lot of times, most of the time, it has nothing to do with you. And at the end of the day, never forget this. Who knows who you really are? Okay, I like to think of my family, my father, my mother, my sister. They know who I really am. They think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm their hero. They think I'm super awesome, right? They really know who I am. A random girl that I walk up to and I smile and just say hi to her, and if she's not into it in that moment and she rejects me, what does she really know about me? Even a girl who's been on a date or two with me, what does she really know about my passions, my struggles, my past, who I am as a man, that I love to help people and give back and all these other things. I mean, you could list all the great qualities of yourself as a great exercise to do, but the question is, does this girl who rejected you really know who you really are? And if she doesn't know who you really are, then you really can't take personal offense to something that is so impersonal. That's a great quote that I like to say. Don't take personal offense to something that's so impersonal, right? If she doesn't really know you as a person, how can you take the rejection to heart? So these are all super, super important. If you want to screenshot this and save it in your phone, there's your little map right over here. And I have over here, check out FA. And FA is Fearless Approach. It's a book that I wrote. Rejection and fear of approaching women is such a big hang up for guys. It's the number one issue that guys tell me. They have issues approaching women. They have issues dealing with rejection. They have so many issues with them that I wrote an entire book about it. You can get it for $5 on Amazon. It's only $4.99. It's a super cool book. It's a quick read. You can read it in a few hours. And it really dives deeper into these mindsets and ways of dealing with rejection and understanding rejection. From all the experience that I've had all through these years, a great way of understanding how rejection works so you can not take it so personally. These are the down and dirty facts, and definitely I want you guys to take these to heart. And please, my goal for you and what I really, really want you to get out of this video is I want you to take action, man. That old Fight Club quote, your life is ending second by second. We're all going to die at some point. And I don't mean to be grim, but the point is, I don't want you to miss out on something that you want to experience in your life. If you want to have more great times with women, if you want anything in your life that you want to do and you want to experience, don't let rejection get in the way from you. Rejection is inevitable. It's going to happen, but I want you to embrace it, take the right mindset with it, and go for what you want in your life. I don't want you to miss out on great times with women because of your fear of rejection. There's some tactic ways of handling it, some mindset ways, and obviously in my other videos I have things you could say and you could do to have great success with women. So get out there, get after it, and don't let rejection keep you from going what you want, and for going for what you want with women. And when you're ready, I'll have the next video queued up for you here. And like I said, share this with somebody who would like to have more success with women, but rejection is holding them back.